Okay, in the last tutorial video I used a loop, a do while loop, and I checked my previous videos and I think I didn't even talk about loops in any of my previous videos. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to briefly explain and introduce to you the three basic types of loops in C++. And really, these three basic types of loops are used in all programming languages, not just C++. And the three basic types of loops are for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay. Um, These loops are used for different things, different purposes, depending on what you want to do. The for loop is a common, very common loop. While loop is also common. Do while is slightly less common than the other two, but it's still used very often, as in the last tutorial that I just did. I'm going to briefly explain the syntax, or how to set up each loop. So for the for loop, you're going to type for int some variable, usually set it equal to 0, and then you're going to do a semicolon. And then you're going to say how many times you want it to loop. Now if your I is called the index, usually programmers just use I because it stands for index. If you're doing nested loops, you just continue from I, so I, J, K, L, M, N, etc. But for now, let's just do one for loop. Int I equals 0, semicolon, I less than 50. Let's do less than or equal to 50, semicolon, I plus plus. You're going to finish that parentheses. And then you're going to put the operations that you want to loop inside curly brackets. And remember, this is a block, so this is your for loop block right here. And any variables declared in here will be used only for the for loop block. Going again, reviewing from the previous video. But anyways, these statements right here deserve a little explanation. If I is starting from 0, well, let me just, in English, the for loop says, the first statement says, the index will start from 0. This next statement says, loop until the index is less than, or loop while the index is less than or equal to 50. Okay, and the last statement says in English, each time a loop is complete, increment or add 1 to the variable I. Okay, so if I is 0, actually, let's do that. Yeah. So if I is 0 and you're incrementing it every time, the first time the loop goes, I will be 0. The next time it'll be 1, then 2, then 3. Because it starts at 0, you really and if you want it to loop 50 times, exactly 50 times, you really need to use this inequality, less than. Okay? Because if you use less than or equal to, then if you use less than or equal to, it would actually loop 51 times, because it would count 50 as an iteration, a loop. So you would get 51 loops. Now, had you started at I equals 1, that would get rid of that 51, and you could say I less than or equal to 50. Now, that would loop 50 times. You can also go in an opposite direction. I equals 500, I greater than or equal to 50, decrement. And that would loop however many times 500 minus 50 is. 450. Wow. Easy math. So that's a for loop, and we're gonna do more of those, and the more you use it, the more you will understand it. Okay, while loops. While loops are very, very easy, much simpler than for loops. operations to loop. So within a while loop, basically it's just going to check for a condition while that condition is true. Bool var, whatever. While that is true, you actually can't do that. You have to declare it prior. So let's do bool var equals 1, or true. Yeah. So while this variable is true, or not equal to 0, because in computer programming and logic, 0 means false, and anything other than that means true. So while this is true, just loop continuously until something inside here, the body of your while loop, changes the looping variable to false. You can also say while not variable, and well, this while loop wouldn't even execute. Now it would, because you're negating a false variable, which makes it positive, which means you're going to loop. More on while loops later. Do while loops. You have do, not double, thank you, and then your body, and then operations to loop. This structure, this function, I guess you could say, this loop, while var. This will always loop at least once. That's what the do part is. Do at least once. And then check your condition. If the condition is true, loop again. Check your condition. If it's true again, loop again. Check your condition. If it's false, stop. And then continue on with the program down here, whatever. So these are your basic loops in C++ and pretty much in every programming language: for, while, and do while.